Guest is multi-New York Times best-selling author Mike Michalowicz. His book, Fix the Next, and its diagnostic tools draw on 5 identified levels of needs shared by every single small business. His goal with the This Next concept, if I could say it in English, is to help eradicate small business owner poverty by showing business owners a very simple system to uncover their greatest and biggest challenges, ladies and gentlemen. Actually knowing those challenges, they can then systematically, I can't speak English today, systematically fix the issues that will give them the greatest impact on improving their business without burning out trying to fix everything at once. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Mike Michalowicz. How are you, sir? Thank you for doing this.
Thank you. I'm doing well, Mark. What an introduction. And I got to acknowledge those photographs are just awesome because they're pictures of me. And I have a big fat ego. So
yes, it's. I don't go to bed like this. It's not a shrine or anything.
It would be awesome.
All right.
Nuzzle up to it.
It's just to show you some love. That's what it is.
Thank you. Well, you've shown it. I appreciate it.
Cool. Right. Okay. So first question. Right. One of the biggest things that I usually see or listen to on these types of podcasts and stuff are the amount of people who sort of like reel off this great big huge hit list of this amazing stuff that they've gone and done and they were really, really good at. And it always kind of strikes me how brilliant those people always appear to be. But what blew me away with your book, Fix This Next, is how completely honest you are. You know, here you are, this multi-New York Times bestseller. You actually failed and you made some mistakes. So talk to me about, just before we get into the actual book, talk to me about the business train wrecks that you actually had to go through. You actually use that phrase yourself. The business train wrecks of how you have got to where you are today, my friend.
Yeah. And I fear that if we did this interview a year or two from now, there'd be more business train wrecks. I think it's part of the entrepreneurial journey. I actually am convinced of it. But to your point, I think many people gloss over that. And I had a propensity to do that too. I didn't want to share that I lost all my money twice, and lost a home. You know, I wanted to share that I sold my businesses. I think the biggest train wreck, and which became a defining moment, at least in my life, was I did have some early exits from businesses. I grew them and they were purchased. One was a private equity deal. Another was a Fortune 500 acquisition. And I became a millionaire in my early 30s. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I am God's gift to entrepreneurship. I am so smart. You know, my ego just went huge, this big, fat ego. I started a third business as an angel investor because that's what you got to do now. Start many businesses. And I had the means to invest in these businesses. I had no clue what I was doing. I didn't build businesses that were complementary. It was just all over the place. And within 2 years, I lost everything. My fat ego couldn't acknowledge that I saw the money evaporating from my bank account. I couldn't acknowledge that that was really happening. I was telling myself, you know, that one big client will appear. The investor will swoop in and save me. And I got a call from my accountant. It was on Valentine's Day, coincidentally. And he said, is my professional suggestion, you declare bankruptcy immediately, because the only other option is to liquidate your remaining assets, which was like a car, and you live like a pauper. And I chose option 2. I came home. I told my family we were going to lose our house. We lost it 30 days later. We lost our possessions. My daughter, in that moment, she ran to her bedroom. I thought she was actually running away from me. I was sobbing. I was so ashamed. The provider did everything but provide. She came running back and she put her piggy bank down on the table and she goes, Daddy, since you can't provide for our family, I will do it. She was 9 years old. I felt such a deep shame. And that was one of my calamities, probably the biggest one, but that imprinted something on me that I really have to realize I don't know entrepreneurship like I thought I did. That I have to get to the basics. And I've endeavored ever since and intend to for the rest of my life to simplify the entrepreneurial journey, selfishly for myself and hopefully for as many other entrepreneurs as possible.
Yeah, and I mean, man, that's a genuine story that's probably going to hit home with an awful lot of people as we carry on going through this global pandemic right about now. I think the really big thing out of that is that, yeah, you might fail, but just get the hell back up and just go again.
Yeah. And listen, and it's okay. You know, actually the most afflicted community with depression is the entrepreneurial community. So I think there's this ruse we put on. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm crashing it. Like, we feel that we need to put out this air of success. And I think the reason too is, you know, who wants to buy from a loser? Who wants to do business with them? So we put on this fake front. It's like social media, like Facebook. Like, oh, my life's amazing. Everyone's life's amazing. And that's all they put out there. Well, entrepreneurs, we're notorious for this all the time, not just on social media, everywhere. Oh yeah, we're crushing it. And we're dying inside. This gap is what I call entrepreneurial poverty. This posturing of success and the reality of struggle. We are knocked down on our ass. We are working exhaustively. We have no money, and yet we're saying everything's fantastic. I think we need to close that gap. And listen, I think entrepreneurs should be wildly successful. I think we should be financially sound. I believe we deserve all the money in the world because entrepreneurs are the provider for the global economy. You know, we were talking about the GDP in the UK, and you said 40% of small businesses. That's massive, and it's only getting bigger. And this is true globally. We don't only deserve the success, the world is starving for us to be successful. But if we put on this fake ruse that we're successful and continue to do what doesn't serve us, we're in trouble. We need to take deliberate action. First thing is to acknowledge we don't know everything. Second step is, where are we struggling? What's the biggest pain in our business? Identify that, fix that next, right? Fix this next, fix that pain, and then go after the next one and the next one. It's sequential resolution to improving our business.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Man, one of the biggest problems that small business owners face, especially in this current situation that I like to call the global bastard, because if you actually say, seriously, if you actually say the C word on YouTube, it gets your video bummed right down. Okay. So I have to use the phrase global bastard. And it's actually not figuring out what problems that they need to fix in their business. Now, most business owners kind of know what is frustrating them. They know kind of what challenges they've got. The real problem is that they're trying to solve all those problems, all of them, at the same time. How do they choose which problems to fix first?
Yeah, so you actually said it in explanation, is we all know what is frustrating us. And the problem is, it's not about us. It's about the business need. So the entrepreneur defaults to their own need and puts a priority around that. You know, I got 50 emails right now, all demanding my attention. I got employees firing questions off at me here in the office or over my cell phone. I have clients calling in. To me, all those are critical problems. So the next one I see, I'll apply my efforts there and say, this is the urgent one. But it's a randomized thing, and it's about me. We have to differentiate between me, the business owner, and it, the business. It is separate things. Our businesses have its own needs. And we have to go through an identification process. The process is this. I developed in the book, Fix This Next, I explain, but I call it the business hierarchy of needs. Foundationally, there's 5 levels, but foundationally, every business needs sales first and foremost. Sales is the creation of cash. But even at this level, entrepreneurs get confused because we say, oh, sales cures everything, which is totally not true. Sales is necessary, but it alone is not sufficient. We need to create cash, but then we need to extract that cash. We need to retain it to give our business stability. That's profit. So the first layer is bring in sales that are adequate to support profit. Profit brings runway to the business. It gives us time. Many business owners don't even focus on profit. They say, we're going to sell more and sell more, which actually causes the reverse. It doesn't bring stability to business. It causes instability. Because the more I sell, the more obligation I have. If I sell something to you, now I have to deliver on that. And I sell something to someone else and so forth, I have to deliver to them too. It actually puts more burden on the business. So how do we sell more profitably, more selective selling? Then once we have a profit system, we need to focus on efficiency. Efficiency, I call it the order level. This is where there's no dependency on any single employee. It starts off with the owner. So many businesses are so dependent on the owner that the owner's sick or has to take time off, or there's any distraction, the business is now distracted. This codependency is a real problem. There's a saying that our business and our relationship with it is, I'm a parent, my business is my child, I'm raising it. Not true. Most businesses are conjoined twins. It's the owner of the business and the business itself. We share critical organs, we share everything. The separation must happen, and it must be a surgical process, very deliberate. You don't just rip yourself apart. Once that's satisfied, the next need that presents itself is impact. Impact is where businesses are not about the transactions, but about the transformation. It's being of consistent systemic service to our clients. It's not the one-off client saying, you're amazing, I love you. It's every single client saying, you're amazing, I love you. The highest level of a business is legacy. Legacy is where a business is created to be of permanent service. It's the creation of permanence. And it's often at this level where business owners realize, oh my gosh, I've never been a business owner. I've been a business steward. I was a catalyst for this business. I was a cog in the wheel, but the business isn't about me. It's about the business itself. Always start at the base. So to find out where you are, start at the base and say, is it adequate? Do I have adequate sales? If so, do I have adequate profit? Do I have adequate efficiency? And you keep building your way up until there's a lack of adequacy. Then you fix that. You start at the base and you ask the same question sequence up the pyramid yet again.
Okay. So I'm going to throw this question at you. I know you weren't prepared for this. If you wrote this book now, what extra factors would you have put in the book that you haven't already put in the book now? Considering, obviously, I would say probably in the last 12 months, it feels like we have had, revolution, evolution, devolution, and literally probably 5 years worth, probably 5 to 10 years worth, probably in the space of around about 11 to 10 months. What kind of extra factors would you put into the book now that you didn't when you were writing it?
Probably two additional elements. One would be that desperate people do desperate things. And when we feel this pressure, we start responding in a hyper mode. We actually do more things at a lower depth, so we're less impactful. We feel that busyness translates to progress, and that's absolutely not true. I see businesses just desperately doing things. So if we realize that we've put ourselves in a position of desperation, I think we can get a little bit of control around that. Going from fire to fire is not a way to navigate this situation. It may get you through the next 15 minutes, but it won't get you through the next 15 months. I think the next element too is to be careful of pride. Just because my business was here a year or two ago does not mean it's going to be a continual climb. I didn't call this the ascension system or the ladder. It is a hierarchy of needs. It's like Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Maslow says that the foundational level of need of all humanity is physiological needs. You need to breathe air, eat water, drink food. Like right now, if someone puts a plastic bag over my head and ties it tight, I'm done with the interviews. It's been wonderful, but I got to survive. We revert to the base. Our business, if it's under stress, we have to evaluate where we are and revert to it. And don't be prideful and say, well, the presentation just keeps going on, even though I'm suffocating. We must get to the most base level need where there is a need and serve that. And we got to make sure our pride is pulled out. And that's just because we've been in business for so many years, we are at a certain level, we must revert to the base. And just one example of this, the mighty Amazon, that global organization that it is, even the mighty Amazon lives by this hierarchy of needs. It's true for small business, true for all business. When the pandemic hit, Amazon arguably was working on legacy type of efforts, creation of artificial intelligence, their cars that are autonomous, all these different things. Yet, the day the pandemic hit, they reverted back to the base of the pyramid and said, we have to resolve the new sales challenge. The new sales challenge it wasn't about delivering all products as fast as possible. It was delivering essentials. They moved on to an essential product model. They prioritized that. As a result, Amazon had 28% more growth in 2020 as a result of reprioritizing their business and changing their model. We got to remove our pride from it and be able to adjust dynamically. On the flip side is a balance. Don't do it so rapidly that you're in desperation mode, but do go to what your business needs from you next and realize it may be a step back in order to take 2 steps forward next year. Yeah,
you know what? It's really interesting that you just discussed that model, because here in the UK, obviously when we got put into lockdown, supermarkets suddenly realized that, wow, we've got to be doing a lot more home deliveries, slots were being filled up, etc. Lots of people couldn't get slots, etc. If they had just gone to that model, which was delivering the essentials, which is pretty much what most people were buying, like, 28 packs of toilet roll, because
I know.
Effectively
crazy.
I know, exactly. COVID gives you the shits, right? I know. I haven't seen any scientists say that yet, but hey, there's someone somewhere with about 3,000 toilet rolls still. That's fine, all right? If they'd gone to that model, they would have been able to actually satisfy more customers and quicker and streamline their whole system, and probably still grown at an exponential rate through that channel by actually just delivering the essentials. Man, that's, yeah.
And I'll give you a shortcut to do that.
Yeah.
You can even do it today. It would have been better if you did it then, but now is the moment you can grasp this, is to reach out to your past clients or existing clients, your past patrons, and simply say two things. A, we're still open for business. A lot of customers are affected from this. They go into shutdown mode, but it's not just a physical shutdown. It's a mental kind of lockdown. We kind of just block things out. We don't think about our vendors that we were purchasing from the past. So some of the clients that are not active with you, just if they haven't heard from you, they're just assuming, oh, I guess that business is now business. I got other things to focus on. So step one is reach out and say, hey, we're still open for business. Step two is to say, how can we serve you now? Because the prior model may not be able to serve you. If I have a pub, you can't come in anymore. Is there a new way I can serve you? In fact, there's a lot of restaurants in our own little town here. It's a very kind of colonial type town. There's about 20 restaurants. Half of them are now out of business, sadly, because they didn't ask customers how to serve them now. One of them, though, said, how can we serve you? And the response was, we love your special meals and so forth, but we can't come into your restaurant. How can you serve us? Well, could you tell us how to prepare the meals at home? They started a cooking club. Same restaurant. They send out the ingredients to their customers. And then on a Monday night, they say it's cooking class from 5 in the afternoon till 7 or whatever. And now, not only are they selling meals, not are they teaching classes, which is a premium, they're charging for this. It's more profitable. They're also bringing about a new community. People are connecting with people, and that's what people need. So it's these businesses that are bold enough to ask, what's the new way we can serve you? And then acting upon it, they're navigating this situation.
Absolutely, man. Right, last question, because I know you're such a busy man, saving the world and all that sort of stuff. Saving one business at a time.
One business at a time.
Seriously, that used to be one of my old taglines. I'm never using that again. Right. If you were a startup, okay, because certainly here in the UK, there have obviously been, sadly, redundancies. I fear that there are going to be more when government support is withdrawn later on in the year. We have seen record numbers of small businesses being registered in the last 3 months than any other time since records begun. If you were starting up today, what 2 tips would you give a startup so that they've got a better chance of surviving their first year?
All right, here's 2 tips. The first tip I would do would be the one-to-many. I'd build a model. And actually, I have a startup I'm launching right now. So we're doing a one-to-many model. How can I deliver a product or service that many people want to consume? And therefore, as more people consume it, it doesn't have an equivalent rise in cost. Kind of like, classic models would be like an information product. I can create a video or a training series, for example, and sell that exact same recording to as many people as possible. So my costs don't go up significantly, but the revenue profitability does. So what's the one-to-many model? And I'll tell you, if you know a trade, for example, say you're a glass blower or something like that, the model was make one item, sell it, make another, sell it. Now, if the one-to-many model is how can I perhaps teach other people to be glass blowers or something like that? So I want you to make that mind shift. The other thing is look internationally immediately. Even at day one, the mentality used to be, I got to sell to my neighborhood, my community, my country. No, sell to the globe from day one. I think the market in the UK has such an opportunity to sell into the US, sell into actually any country, just like we do here. If I have a restaurant that makes extraordinary American classics, hamburgers and hot dogs, why not start providing that training to other areas and say, hey, bring hamburgers, hot dogs to wherever you are, and now train other restaurants. The exchange of that knowledge is really desirable internationally. The one thing that we all have is our culture. And I don't think we put significance in it because this is just who we are. But with a realize for other people, there's appeal. And there's a classic example. The little country of Jamaica, which is an island, has sold reggae music into the globe. I mean, they're really smart. They took a cultural thing and amplified it and sold it. We all have that opportunity too.
Brilliant. Man, thank you so much for your time. It's been absolutely brilliant. I hope that we can speak again in the near future. Absolutely brilliant. Dude, where can people find you?
So I'll give you the way not to start. It's my website, which is MikeMichalowicz.com. My website's the place to go, but no one can spell Michalowicz. The shortcut is Mike Motorbike, as in the motorcycle, MikeMotorbike.com. Old nickname, never had a motorcycle. That's the irony. But if you go to MikeMotorbike.com, all my books are there. I now have 7 in publication, and you can get free chapter downloads. I also, used to write for the Wall Street Journal. You can get those articles for free. Very helpful for small business, I believe. And I have my own podcast called Mike Up in Your Business. You can go to MikeMotorbike.com to subscribe to that too.
Mike, thank you so much. Once again, it's been an absolute pleasure and a joy. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Mike Michalowicz.
Cheers, mate.
What an absolute legend. That is it for this podcast. Thank you so much for watching or listening. If you want to know more about Mike, I've put some of the links in the show notes. If you want some more small business news, thoughts, ideas, strategies to make you more than a small business and be a smart business owner, go to www.yourbestkept.businesssecret.co.uk. Links are in the notes, etc. Ladies and gentlemen, I will see you very, very soon. Keep up the good fight. You're doing brilliantly. Take care of yourselves. Stay safe.